Pooh Shiesty, one of the biggest rappers to blow up out of Memphis in recent years, is reportedly in critical condition after getting attacked by Crips inside a federal prison. But this situation goes way deeper than a simple prison fight. This whole thing is tied to loyalty, street politics, respect, and what really goes down when a famous rapper gets locked behind federal walls thinking their reputation will keep them safe. And clearly that fame didn't mean much once those cell doors closed. People on the outside see the jewelry, the hits, the money, and the fame, but prison moves by a totally different code. Inside, nobody cares about chart numbers or viral songs when tensions start building up. By the end of this video, you're going to fully understand what allegedly happened to Pooh Shiesty, what may have led up to it, and why so many people in the rap world are shocked by this situation. The details behind this story are wild, and the rumors spreading online have only made things even more intense. But before getting into all that, it's important to really understand who Pooh Shiesty is and why this story has everybody talking right now. Once the full background gets explained, the rest of the situation starts hitting completely different. So listen close because this story moves fast. Pooh Shiesty, whose real name is Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., is a rapper from Memphis, Tennessee. Born on November 8, 2000, he was barely 20 years old when his career exploded across the rap world. Most people at 20 are still trying to figure life out, but Pooh Shiesty was already becoming one of the hottest names in hip-hop. After signing to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, he came into the game with serious momentum and people instantly started paying attention. Then came Shiesty Season in January 2021, and that project went crazy. The mixtape debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, which is rare for a mixtape. That wasn't even a full studio album, and it still landed in the top 5 nationwide. Everybody was talking about him, and his buzz just kept getting bigger every single month. After that, he dropped Back in Blood with Lil Durk, and the track turned into a massive hit. The song went multi-platinum and had the streets, social media, and the charts going wild at the same time. For a minute, it looked like Pooh Shiesty couldn't miss, but then everything suddenly took a dark turn. In October 2021, Pooh Shiesty pleaded guilty to a federal conspiracy charge connected to a robbery case. The case reportedly came from a 2020 incident at a hotel in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, where prosecutors said 2 men were robbed and 1 person was seriously injured during the situation. Federal authorities treated the case very seriously, and once the feds step in, things usually get complicated fast. That's when his fast rise in the rap game suddenly collided with major legal problems, and the whole story changed completely. In August 2022, Pooh Shiesty was sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in federal prison. And when it comes to the federal system, people already know those sentences usually mean serious time behind bars. Federal inmates often end up serving most of their sentence, so this was never going to be a quick situation. He was reportedly placed in a low-security federal correctional institution, and at first, some people thought that might make things easier for him. A lot of fans probably assumed low security meant less drama, less violence, and fewer problems overall. But things allegedly got way more intense than anybody expected. This is where the story starts taking a darker turn, so pay attention. What first looked like another rapper dealing with prison time slowly turned into something a lot more disturbing once rumors and reports started spreading online. Sources began claiming Pooh Shiesty was having serious problems while locked up. Now obviously nobody expects prison to be comfortable, but this situation allegedly went beyond normal prison stress. Being famous on the outside doesn't automatically protect somebody once they enter the federal system, and that reality reportedly hit hard. Pooh Shiesty came into prison as a major rap star with platinum records, millions of followers, money, and a huge fan base behind him. From the outside looking in, some people thought his celebrity status might earn him extra respect or keep certain problems away, but federal prison reportedly works by a completely different set of rules. Inside, people care more about affiliations, neighborhoods, loyalty, and how somebody carries themselves under pressure. Your music career, social media fame, and chart success don't necessarily mean much once tensions rise behind those walls, and according to the reports floating around, that environment became a serious challenge for Pooh Shiesty as prison politics and personal conflicts allegedly started catching up with him fast. Street politics don't suddenly disappear just because somebody becomes rich and famous. In some situations, fame can actually bring more attention and more pressure, especially inside prison walls. A known rapper can quickly become a target because certain people may see that situation as a way to build their own reputation or gain status. Now here's where the story gets really intense, and this is the part that has social media going crazy right now. There's been a lot of rumors, mixed reports, and exaggerated claims floating around online, so it's important to separate speculation from what's actually being reported. According to several reports circulating online, Pooh Shiesty was allegedly involved in a serious altercation inside the federal facility where he's currently serving time. And this reportedly wasn't some quick argument or minor prison scuffle. The reports described it as a coordinated attack involving multiple individuals allegedly connected to the Crips. During the incident, Pooh Shiesty reportedly suffered noticeable injuries, and one detail especially exploded across the internet. Multiple posts claimed he had a tooth knocked out during the altercation, and that single detail had social media reacting instantly. Now, people online started turning the situation into jokes and memes almost immediately. But when you really think about it, losing a tooth in a fight points to a violent confrontation. That's not something that usually happens from one small hit. Reports describing the injuries made the situation sound extremely serious and intense. What pushed the story even further was the early talk claiming Pooh Shiesty was in critical condition after the incident. That's the part that really sent the internet into chaos because it suggested the reported injuries may have gone far beyond just losing a tooth during the altercation. The reports made the situation sound serious enough that people were genuinely worried about Pooh Shiesty's condition, and that's a major reason the story spread so fast online. Once words like critical condition started getting attached to the situation, social media completely exploded with reactions, rumors, and non-stop debate. But before breaking down the reported attack even more, it's important to understand how prison politics and gang affiliations can create major tension behind bars. Without that context, the situation doesn't fully make sense, especially when people started asking why Crips were allegedly involved in the altercation. Pooh Shiesty comes from Memphis, Tennessee, and Memphis has its own street culture that's very different from places like Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York. A lot of Memphis neighborhoods and crews developed their own identities over time instead of following the exact same structure seen in other cities. That background matters because once rappers become famous, people often start connecting them to certain groups, affiliations, or circles based on who they're around and what they represent in music and public life. Over the years, Pooh Shiesty has frequently been linked online to people and artists associated with blood-affiliated circles. Whether somebody publicly claims a set or not, those associations can still become part of how others view them, especially in environments where affiliations carry serious weight. And federal prison brings together people from all over the country. Somebody from Memphis could suddenly be locked up around individuals from Compton, South Central, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, and many other places, all carrying their own backgrounds, alliances, and tensions into the same environment. So according to the reports and online discussions surrounding this case, some people believe those alleged affiliations in prison politics may have played a role in the conflict involving Pooh Shiesty. That's why this situation quickly became much bigger than just another prison fight story. Online. According to the conversations happening online, people close to prison culture keep saying this situation wasn't viewed as random at all. In environments shaped by gang politics, long-standing tensions and affiliations can sometimes follow people even after they're locked up. For many observers, that's why this story caught so much attention so quickly. Now, another big question started spreading everywhere online after the reports came out. A lot of people began asking, why wouldn't Pooh Shiesty just go into PC? And honestly, that question kept popping up non-stop across social media and rap blogs, no? For people who don't know, PC means protective custody. That's a separate housing arrangement used for inmates considered at higher risk of conflict or harm. From the outside looking in, it probably sounds like the easiest answer possible. If somebody's famous or allegedly being targeted, people assume they can simply move into protective custody and avoid problems. But prison culture reportedly sees that very differently. Inside certain prison environments, going into PC can carry a heavy social stigma. Many inmates reportedly view it as somebody stepping away from the general population because they no longer feel safe handling that environment. And in street culture, labels can stick for a long time. People online often use phrases like checked in when talking about inmates who enter protective custody, and that reputation can follow somebody long after prison, especially if their public image is tied to toughness, authenticity, and credibility. That's why so many people believe the situation becomes complicated for somebody like Pooh Shiesty. His music and image have always been heavily connected to street credibility and standing tall under pressure. So according to online discussions, entering protective custody could be viewed by some critics as conflicting with the image he built throughout his rap career, which adds another layer to this entire situation. Pooh Shiesty built his image around being solid, standing tall, and staying connected to the streets. His music, his reputation, and the way fans view him are all tied closely to authenticity and credibility. And according to people familiar with prison culture, those things don't suddenly disappear once somebody goes behind bars. That's why many people believe every move made inside prison can still affect how someone is viewed once they return home. Decisions made behind those walls can follow a person long after their sentence is over, especially for public figures whose careers are connected to street respect and image. So, from the outside looking in, Pooh Shiesty appears stuck in a difficult position. On one side, asking for extra protection could bring criticism from people who value toughness and standing firm under pressure. But on the other side, staying in a dangerous environment could reportedly increase the risk of serious physical conflict. That balance is a huge reason this story has sparked so many debates online. And a lot of people also have the wrong idea about what celebrity life in federal prison actually looks like. Movies and social media sometimes make it seem like famous inmates get luxury treatment or special privileges, but reports about federal facilities paint a much different picture. Despite being a platinum-selling rapper, Pooh Shiesty reportedly still has to live under the same prison structure as everyone else around him. That means shared living spaces, limited privacy, strict routines, and constantly being around people from different cities, backgrounds, and affiliations. In many low-security federal facilities, inmates are often housed in open dorm-style areas instead of private cells. That creates an environment where tensions, personalities, and prison politics are always close by, with very little space to truly separate yourself from conflict. Some fans probably assume his music career automatically earns him respect inside, and maybe in certain situations people recognize him for his songs, but prison reportedly operates under a completely different kind of social system once real pressure and real politics enter the picture. And yes, being famous can sometimes bring a certain level of recognition inside prison. People may know your music, recognize your name, or respect what you accomplish outside, but according to many discussions around prison culture, that attention can also create serious problems at the same time. For some inmates, a famous rapper becomes someone they want to test or challenge. People may want to see whether the public image matches reality once real pressure shows up. Others might view a celebrity inmate as a chance to gain attention, reputation, or status just by being connected to conflict involving a well-known name. Then there's also the financial side of prison life, which adds another layer of tension. Even though inmates can't directly access outside wealth while incarcerated, people still know someone like Pooh Shiesty likely has supporters, family, or friends able to place money on his commissary account. And according to reports and stories shared by former inmates, that can sometimes make a person a bigger target instead of a safer one. Some individuals may allegedly try to pressure inmates with money into sharing commissary items or providing favors, and conflicts can escalate quickly if demands are refused. That's why a lot of people online were shocked to realize fame and money don't necessarily protect somebody inside prison. In some cases, those things can reportedly increase the pressure and danger around a person instead of reducing it. But beyond the physical side of everything, there's also the mental impact, and that part often gets ignored when people talk about incarcerated rappers. Physical injuries make headlines fast, but the psychological stress of living in that kind of environment every single day can become just as serious over time. For someone like Pooh Shiesty, going from sold-out shows and worldwide fame to constant tension, strict routines, and prison politics reportedly creates a completely different reality than most fans could ever imagine. Pooh Shiesty is still a young man, and his life changed fast in a way most people can barely imagine. One minute, he was one of the hottest artists in the country, performing at major events, recording music, traveling non-stop, and building a huge fan base. Then suddenly everything shifted to life inside a federal prison with years still left to serve. And while he's locked away, the music industry keeps moving without slowing down for anybody. New rappers are blowing up, artists from his era are still dropping albums, going on tours, making money, and staying active online, while he can only watch from a distance with limited communication and almost no ability to stay involved. That kind of reality can reportedly take a major mental toll on someone. Going from fame, freedom, and constant movement to strict routines, isolation from loved ones, and prison politics is a huge adjustment for anybody, especially someone whose entire life changed so publicly and so quickly. Then on top of all the emotional pressure, there's also the physical danger being discussed in these reports. According to the rumors and online conversations surrounding the alleged altercation, Pooh Shiesty has also had to deal with violence, tension, and concerns about personal safety while incarcerated. Another harsh reality people bring up about prison is how quickly situations can escalate before staff members are able to respond. In many facilities, officers can't monitor every single area at every moment, especially in dorm-style settings, where large groups of inmates are housed together. And that's why this story started feeling much bigger than celebrity gossip for a lot of people online. Once reports of serious injuries and possible ongoing danger surfaced, the conversation shifted from rap news into concern about the real-life risks inmates can face behind prison walls every single day. After reports about the alleged attack started spreading, a lot of people immediately began asking the same question. What is being done about Pooh Shiesty's safety inside prison? That's something fans, legal observers, and people online have all been debating heavily since the story went viral. Many people believe his legal team and family are likely pushing for answers as well, especially if the reported injuries were as serious as social media claims made them sound. But one major issue is that information coming out of federal prisons is often extremely limited. The Bureau of Prisons usually doesn't publicly discuss incidents happening inside facilities in real time. Reports about altercations, fights, or inmate injuries often spread through secondhand accounts, legal communications, family conversations, or information shared online by people connected to inmates. According to standard procedures, when a serious prison incident happens, there are supposed to be medical evaluations, internal reports, investigations, and security reviews afterward. If someone is injured, they are expected to receive medical treatment, and staff are supposed to examine what led to the situation in the first place. But critics of the prison system often argue that the response to violence inside facilities can sometimes move slowly or fail to fully solve ongoing tensions. Even after an incident gets investigated, people online point out that problems can continue if the same conflicts, rivalries, or dangerous conditions still exist afterward. That's why many observers say prison violence can become a repeating cycle. If the same inmates remain around each other, if tensions stay active, or if someone believed to be at risk stays in the same environment, concerns about future conflicts may continue hanging over the situation. And that's a huge reason why this story grabbed so much public attention. It stopped feeling like ordinary rap drama and started raising bigger conversations online about prison safety, violence, and what actually happens behind the walls of federal facilities. And for a lot of people following this story, that's the scariest part of the whole situation. If Pooh Shiesty reportedly stays in general population while tensions remain active, people online keep wondering whether another incident could happen again. That fear is a huge reason the conversation around this case has become so intense. At the same time, there are also people online saying things like, he made his own choices, or he knew what came with that lifestyle. And honestly, those opinions have been all over social media since the reports first surfaced. It's true that Pooh Shiesty's legal situation wasn't random. He pleaded guilty in federal court, accepted responsibility in the case, and is now serving the sentence connected to those charges. Nobody is really debating that part of the story. But another point many people keep bringing up is equally important. Serving a prison sentence and becoming the victim of serious violence are two completely different things. The justice system sentenced him to incarceration, not to allegedly being attacked or seriously injured while behind bars. That distinction is a major reason this situation sparked so much debate online. People started looking beyond just Pooh Shiesty as a celebrity and focusing more on the larger reality of violence, prison politics, and safety inside correctional facilities across the country. This story also opened up bigger conversations about how prison environments can place inmates in impossible situations. There's the pressure of maintaining reputation and credibility, the fear of appearing weak, the danger tied to gang politics, and the constant tension between protecting yourself and surviving socially inside prison culture. And according to many critics of the prison system, those conditions can sometimes create more conflict instead of encouraging rehabilitation or personal growth, which is why stories like this continue grabbing so much public attention. A lot of people online also started pointing out something bigger after hearing about the situation. Stories involving famous rappers make headlines fast, but similar conditions and conflicts reportedly affect thousands of incarcerated people across the country every day without ever getting national attention. Most inmates dealing with dangerous environments, prison politics, or violence don't have millions of followers or major blogs reporting on their situations. Their stories usually stay completely invisible to the public, and that reality has made a lot of people reflect differently on what's happening behind prison walls. Some critics even argue that the same pressures allegedly connected to Pooh Shiesty's situation exist throughout correctional facilities nationwide. The tension, the gang politics, the fear of appearing weak, and the constant pressure to survive socially are things many incarcerated people reportedly deal with daily. Another major topic people have been discussing online is the pressure tied specifically to Pooh Shiesty's public image and industry connections. Because of his fame, his ties to 1017 Records, and the image connected to his music, fans believe expectations around him inside prison may have been extremely high from multiple directions at once. On one side, there are supporters and fans who expect him to stand firm, stay solid, and maintain the same image he presented throughout his music career. In street culture discussions online, people often talk about ideas like holding your ground and never showing fear under pressure, but on the other side, there may also be people who allegedly want to challenge that image directly. For some individuals, testing a famous rapper's reputation can become a way to build status or prove something inside prison culture, and according to many former inmates in prison discussions online, those tests usually aren't verbal arguments alone. Conflicts in prison environments can reportedly turn physical very quickly, especially when reputation and respect become involved. That means Pooh Shiesty allegedly entered prison carrying pressure from every direction at the same time, which many people believe would be an extremely difficult situation for anyone to navigate, especially somebody still in their early 20s trying to survive a high-pressure environment behind bars. And another reason this story has people paying close attention is because Gucci Mane himself has experience with prison and understands how serious that environment can be. Gucci has openly talked in the past about the difficulties he faced while incarcerated, and many fans believe that background gives extra weight to the conversations happening around Pooh Shiesty right now, because no matter how famous somebody is on the outside, prison reportedly operates under its own rules and pressures once those doors close. Reputation alone doesn't automatically remove danger or conflict in that environment. But there's also another layer to this whole situation that people keep debating online, and it involves Pooh Shiesty's future career. Even while incarcerated, his music is still streaming heavily, his songs are still getting playlist support, and his name remains active in hip-hop culture, and rap history has shown that some artists actually gain even more attention during incarceration. Fans often become more invested in the story, waiting for new music, updates, or a comeback project after release. In some cases, prison time becomes part of the artist's overall narrative in the public eye, but there's a major difference between building anticipation and dealing with serious safety concerns behind bars. That type of comeback only works if the artist eventually returns healthy, focused, and able to continue their career. And according to the reports surrounding this alleged incident, that uncertainty is what has so many people worried right now. Every new rumor about violence, injuries, or ongoing tension inside the facility raises more questions about what condition Pooh Shiesty could be in by the time he eventually walks back out into the music industry. That's why this situation feels bigger than normal celebrity drama for a lot of fans following the story online. And for many people following this story, the biggest concern goes far beyond music, fame, or business deals. The real question becomes whether Pooh Shiesty will ultimately be okay physically and mentally after everything being reported online. People aren't just wondering if he'll eventually return home after serving his sentence. They're also questioning whether experiences like this could leave lasting emotional or physical effects that stay with him long after prison is over. That's the part of this story that has really made the conversation feel heavier for a lot of fans and observers. Then there's the specific detail about the reported tooth injury, which became one of the most talked about parts of the entire incident online. As graphic as that sounds, many people pointed to it as a sign that the altercation may have been especially violent. According to discussions surrounding the reports, injuries like that can suggest someone was overwhelmed during the confrontation rather than simply involved in a quick one-on-one fight. Online reactions describe the situation as chaotic, intense, and involving multiple individuals at once, and that lines up with the reports claiming the incident was allegedly a coordinated attack involving several people. If true, that would mean the situation reportedly escalated far beyond a simple disagreement between two inmates. In prison environments, situations involving multiple attackers can become extremely dangerous very quickly, especially if they happen in areas where staff members are not immediately nearby. Once tensions explode, the person being targeted may have very limited ability to escape or defend themselves effectively. That's another reason this incident shocked so many people online. The reports made the situation sound less like a routine prison altercation and more like a serious and potentially life-threatening confrontation behind bars. When someone is outnumbered, they can try to defend themselves, but the odds are already stacked against them. And that's exactly why prison reform advocates keep talking about the need for better staffing, stronger monitoring, and faster intervention inside correctional facilities. A coordinated attack usually doesn't happen out of nowhere in one quick second. People allegedly have to plan, move together, and find the right moment. So if reports are true that Pooh Shiesty ended up seriously injured during a group attack, then a lot of people are asking how the situation was allowed to get that far in the first place. That's the part that makes this whole thing feel even more disturbing. If someone reportedly reached the point of critical condition with major facial injuries, Many observers believe there may have been warning signs or tensions that should have been noticed earlier, but there's another important side to this story too. Information about prison incidents involving famous people can be extremely messy. Federal prisons are closed environments, communication is limited, and verified details are often hard to get. A lot of what spreads online can come through secondhand or even third-hand sources. Sometimes stories get exaggerated, twisted, or posted for attention before the full truth is clear. And when a major rapper's name is involved, the internet can turn one rumor into a viral headline within minutes. So when looking at the reports about Pooh Shiesty, people have to think carefully and not believe every single claim instantly. The situation sounds serious, but the full details still need to be treated with caution because prison stories can get murky fast. The main parts of the story have stayed pretty consistent across different reports. Most sources agree that there was allegedly a serious altercation, that gang-affiliated individuals may have been involved, and that Pooh Shiesty reportedly suffered injuries during the incident. But when it comes to the exact details, things become a lot less clear. The precise number of people involved, the full extent of the injuries, and the exact medical condition being reported online are all details that remain difficult to fully confirm right now. Still, this story didn't spread like some random internet rumor that disappeared after a few hours. It gained traction across multiple platforms, blogs, and discussions connected to the hip-hop world. A lot of the attention came from people claiming ties to individuals familiar with prison culture or connected to artists and insiders around the Memphis rap scene. And because of that, many fans started treating the situation seriously instead of brushing it off as fake gossip. The reactions online from people connected to Pooh Shiesty's circle appeared genuinely concerned, which only made the story grow even larger. That doesn't mean every rumor floating around social media is automatically true. People still need to separate confirmed information from exaggeration because prison stories can quickly become distorted online. But at the same time, the level of concern surrounding the reports has made it clear this situation isn't being ignored. And when you step back and look at the bigger picture, that's why this story matters so much to fans and the rap community. Pooh Shiesty became one of the breakout stars to come out of Memphis in recent years, building a massive following in a very short amount of time. Pooh Shiesty's run in 2021 was huge, and a lot of fans still remember how fast everything took off for him. Between the mixtape success, major features, chart numbers, and industry attention, he reached a level many artists spend years chasing without ever getting close. His music was everywhere at one point, and it felt like his career was only getting bigger with time. But then legal problems changed everything, and by just 21 years old, he was facing life inside the federal prison system instead of continuing his rise in rap. And according to the conversations happening online, prison brought an entirely different type of pressure into his life. Inside those facilities, people reportedly deal with gang politics, territorial conflicts, social pressure, and the mental stress of watching the outside world continue moving while their own lives feel frozen in place. Then came the reports of the alleged assault, which pushed this story into another level completely. Claims about coordinated violence, serious injuries, and possible critical condition turned what started as prison gossip into a nationwide discussion across hip-hop media and social platforms. One of the biggest topics people keep debating is the idea of protective custody. According to many online discussions surrounding prison culture, entering PC can seriously affect how someone's reputation is viewed in certain circles. That's why many people believe someone with Pooh Shiesty's public image could feel pressure to remain in general population despite the risks involved. And if those reports are accurate, that means concerns about his safety may continue every single day he remains in that environment. That's a major reason why this situation has sparked so many conversations far beyond just music. At the end of the day, many people argue that correctional institutions have a responsibility to keep inmates safe regardless of fame, background, or charges. When reports surface claiming someone suffered serious injuries while in custody, it naturally raises larger questions about prison safety and how these facilities handle violence behind closed doors. When you really step back and look at everything surrounding the situation, it becomes way bigger than just another rap headline online. For a lot of people, this has turned into one of the most serious and emotional stories the hip-hop world has seen in a long time, not because of drama, but because there's an actual human being in the middle of it all. And before ending this breakdown, there's one important thing that deserves to be said. Despite all the criticism, debates, and non-stop internet discussions, there are also a lot of fans, artists, and people from similar backgrounds who are genuinely hoping Pooh Shiesty comes through this situation okay. A lot of people still want to see him healthy, focused, back making music, and eventually returning to the studio to continue the career that once had the entire rap scene watching him closely. That support has remained strong even with everything happening around his legal situation and the reports coming out of prison. It's easy for stories like this to turn into internet content where people argue for a few days before moving on to the next viral topic. But behind all the headlines is still Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., a young man with family, supporters, and a life that changed dramatically in a very short amount of time. And while people can debate the choices that led him to prison, many believe basic safety and humane treatment should still matter for anyone serving time. That idea alone is a huge reason this story has connected with so many people online. So when you put everything together, the reported attack, the injuries, the prison politics, the pressure around protective custody, and the reality of day-to-day life inside federal prison, it paints a heavy picture surrounding one of Memphis's most talked about young rap artists right now. But seriously, if this video gave you a better understanding of what's really happening behind this whole Pooh Shiesty situation, make sure you hit that like button right now because it helps the channel grow in a huge way. These stories go way deeper than headlines and gossip, and a lot of people don't fully realize how serious prison life can actually get until situations like this start making national news. Also, drop a comment below and speak on it. Do you think people are overreacting to the reports? Or do you believe the concerns about Pooh Shiesty's safety are valid? And what do you think about the prison system overall after hearing everything in this breakdown? Let the conversation happen in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video with somebody else who's been following the story. More deep dives, viral hip-hop stories, and real breakdowns are on the way. And trust me, the next videos are going to be just as wild. Catch you in the next one. Peace.